Welcome back. Now, after 10 years as Kenya's Music Week, the largest music industry event in sub-Saharan Africa, outside South Africa, rebranded last year to Ongea, the Eastern Africa Music Summit. The inaugural summit debuted yesterday at the Sarit Center Expo Hall and will run till this Sunday. And this morning, we're joined by the organizers to learn more about the summit as well as understand its importance in promoting Kenya's music industry. But before we get into that conversation, we have one artist who has benefited, if I'm not wrong, from what was Kenya Music Week and now is Ongea, the Eastern Africa Summit, and that's Makadem. And allow him to perform because he plays beautiful music, and then we'll get into that conversation. Makadem.
Awoke munda donje Kongo manja gadwaneka Feche mokoricho makamalichu agombo mananeko Richo pongo denda omiya ywagi nyakala bongo yawa Bongo bless me, bless me, bless me Bongo bless me, bless me Bongo bless me, bless me, bless me Bongo bless me, oh yo. Abe Kenya iwako sa chuma la chamwech, kajajwok maido, paropomo miyamalichu, agana kakasigana, pile kanyasaya runda ebenka, na manyo tongolo, atragra pagadi mama bembe, adongo tangalale, au mama, au baba, au mama, umrauma, pinyo tamo wanganya kalaga, ye iberi de chama tuomogaya. Bongo bless me, bless me, bless me. Bongo bless me, bless me. Bongo bless me, bless me, bless me. Bongo bless me, oh yo.
And that's the talented Makadem in the studio this morning. And he's also joined by Mike Astrano, who is kind of called the founder of the initiative, right? Yeah. Kenya Music Week now transformed to Ongea, the Eastern Africa Music Summit. And Mr. Brahim El Mazned, Director, Visa for Music, all the way from Morocco. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. And of course, Makadem. And we want to understand what the Kenya Music Week is about. And I'll start with you, Mike. 10 years ago, Kenya Music was launched, and maybe we need to understand why it was launched then.
Okay, so we started in 2004. For those of us who can remember back to 2004, piracy was a big issue. Musicians weren't able to sell their music because of the pirates. It hasn't really changed that much today. It's only that it's now digital. And musicians generally weren't doing very well. A lot of them had a second job. Music was a side hustle. It wasn't a serious business. So we thought, what can we do to basically have an industry that's more professional, more transparent and more profitable for all. That's our mission as Kenya Music Week. So we decided to have a forum that gets the whole industry under one roof for 4 days. And we have three pillars: trade, learn and showcase. So trade is a trade exhibition, learn were educational workshops, and showcase were showcase performances. So we did that for 10 years from 2004. And I believe some of the changes and reforms that you've seen in the industry started in those forums.
All right. So can you say you achieved what you set out to do, with the Kenya Music Week?
Yes and no. There's a lot that we did, but there's also a lot to do in the industry to bring our industry up to international best practice and compare it against South Africa, for example.
And we'll get to that. Makadem, you have participated in this forum for a number of years, and how has it been for you?
Basically, it's a good thing, because when it came up, we never had such a forum whereby artists or stakeholders would come and showcase what they have and exhibit what they have. So it was actually a very it was very, very important to have such a forum in Nairobi, in Kenya, whereby artists will come and display what they have, and the general public will come in.
Did it open doors for you?
It did, because there's so many ways when you talk about opening doors, because in an exhibition there's a lot of exchanges that go on incognito that people really don't see. You meet this person, then they get to know you and stuff like that.
Okay, so it's not immediate reactions that happen. It's like lifelong, meetings, that networks that build into.
That's the word.
Yeah, networks that build into bigger and greater things. All right, Mike. Others might think that this forum is for artists who perform world music. Because really, you hear Makadem is one of the people who has benefited from this forum, and you listen to the music he does is appreciated worldwide. He's traveled far and wide, and so someone, an artist would say, well, that's not my kind of thing, because what is Brahim looking for? Brahim is looking for a world music artist. Yeah. What's your take on that?
We're open to all genres, and we actually have all genres who attend. And we've invited Brahim and a number of other festival bookers from around the world to attend. And different festivals look for different types of artists as well. On our stage yesterday, we had from Susan Karanen from Uganda, to Heart the Band, to J.A. doing hip-hop. So there was a broad diversity of different genres and different countries represented. And
Brahim, now you come in from Morocco, decided to come. Why first Kenya? Why to this particular forum?
Well, thank you. I'm here because I'm also a promoter in Morocco. I organized two festivals, Timeta Festival, where Makadem performed some years ago in front of around 50,000 people.
Wow.
And they organized Visa for Music, which another market, another forum. We organized it in Rabat in North Africa. It's another big event here in Africa, and we cannot develop as he'd say like our industry here in Africa if we don't work together between North African people, Southern African, Eastern and Western. So I'm here to know what's happened here, to discover new talent, discover new sounds, new vibe. I'm here to probably invite musicians to perform in Morocco. Next, in a few weeks, we will have a direct flight from Nairobi to Casablanca. So we should be in contact. We should develop our network to develop mobilities for our artists. Moroccan artists come here, and Kenyan or Eastern musician perform in Morocco. I invite a few weeks ago for Visa for Music, a musician from Ethiopia, from Uganda. So I think Kenya is so rich on the diversity of music, so it's very important to have this kind of opportunities for us to know what's happening here, and to give opportunities for artists from here to perform around Africa and around the world.
Is there a specific genre of music you're looking for, or are you open to all?
No, I'm open to all.
You're open to all.
Because I think probably the world music didn't give us didn't give probably it did give opportunity for many artists, but it put us in a small
box.
Yeah, in a box. So now Africa is so rich on music, so rich on rhythm and on contemporary music. So we are in 2016, so probably we should give
crop off world music and get another title for us that we'll be able to okay. Mike, then you have rebranded the Kenya Music Week to Ongea, the Eastern Africa Summit, Music Summit. Why did you do so?
For two reasons. Number one, we'd gone 10 years, so it was time to refresh and rebrand and rethink the model. There's actually three reasons. That was one. Two, we wanted to now say, right, in 2004 when we were starting, we really didn't have an industry. It was more like a community. Now we believe that we have more of an industry. So it's time to be more serious about the business. So where we used to have educational workshops, we now have a summit. And the summit is industry panels. So yesterday we had one of music and tech and one of music education. And in music, in education, or education music rather, had some of the biggest names in the educational sector for music in Kenya, like Ian Bugwa was a moderator. Dr. Duncan Wambugu from KU was on the panel. And Dr. Donald Otoyo was also there as well. Helen Mutwali, DJ Space from MOB, who's a mentor. So we brought real professionals in to talk to the industry. And for a Thursday, which is usually our slowest day, we were full. So obviously we're getting good reaction from the market. Yeah, the final one is that we wanted to open the market up to the Eastern Africa, not just the EAC, to the whole 16 countries of Eastern Africa. We want Nairobi to be the hub for the rest of the world to come and view music in Eastern Africa from Nairobi. Well,
I get where you're coming from, but let me play the devil's advocate and say, fantastic, you've opened the doors for 16 countries to come, and these 16 countries, if I'm not wrong, will also be bringing their artists.
Yes.
Yeah. So then you put me as an artist or Makadem at a disadvantage point, because Brahim could come and see someone from Rwanda who is really beautiful in performing and quickly sign him up, leaving Makadem and I as artists struggling. Your take on that?
Competition is very healthy.
Well, it's healthy, yes, but when our industry is not fully grown to that point where we can embrace that competition, what would you say? Because we have artists who are still looking to break into the international market. Now, bringing other artists, don't you feel like you're kind of shortchanging homegrown?
Absolutely not. I believe our artists are at that standard, if not higher. In fact, the visiting artists may have a challenge keeping up with ours.
Makadem, your thoughts? Being an artist, are you ready for musicians from 16 other countries to come into the country and could easily dominate your market and take off with Brahim?
I think Kenyan artists should start looking at things in a much bigger way, not being thinking that I'm Genge, I belong in Nairobi, or I'm doing music in Mombasa, I'm a Mombasa artist. I always tell them all the time in my social media, you should look at yourself regionally, internationally, because nowadays once you do a song, you put it on social media, it goes international. Once you do a video, so who are you competing with? Are you competing with the Kenyan? So you actually should, as an artist, be ready for the world, not for your village, not for your region, not for your tribe, not for your country. You should be ready for anything. Okay,
so this is healthy competition, and artists should be ready for that. Brahim, you just spoke about festivals in your country. 50,000 people attend those festivals. I just want to know how long it has taken for you to get to those numbers, so that Mike here can hear and maybe he can give us a 2-day festival.
Well, in Morocco we have an old tradition with open air performances. Well, and now we have around 200 festivals in Morocco. They start around the end of April till the end of September or October. So each city had one or many festivals. So and it gives opportunity for local musicians, but also for international artists coming from abroad. So as we have this old tradition, people go to the festival easily.
Okay.
So but everything is very fragile. So we should organize everything well. We should communicate well. We should give the good condition and security,
yes,
and everything. We should all the time think how to organize better every year.
Yes,
our events.
Yes.
And we are not alone. We work with many professionals. So that's it.
Mike Makadem, for such a vibrant music industry like ours, why isn't it that we're able to have such festivals, 2-day festivals, 3-day festivals?
First of all, I wanted to add on what he talked about 50,000. They had like 3 stages. One was like 4,000, which was indoor, then there was the 50, and then there was one that we thought was 1 million.
Yeah, I didn't
It closed, it killed that whole town, got it to stand still.
Yes.
And what amazed us is that the main acts were actually local artists, local Arab artists from around, not really from outside.
International artists.
Yes.
Yes.
They are international actually, but
okay, but homegrown. Yes.
Yeah, homegrown.
Yes. But what will it take for us to get there? Culture.
Yeah, because I was in Nigeria for a FRIMA in November, and while on KQ going to Lagos and back, most of the passengers were Nigerians, and like the gentleman seated next to me, and most of them were actually old people in their 70s, 60s. And what surprised me is they were watching either for cinema or they were watching Yemi Alade on Coke Studio. No, that was amazing, because I couldn't imagine a Kenyan 70 years watching Juakali and feeling is comfortable. They bring so many issues, but these guys have their culture that is from the youthful music to the old school music. Yes, all sorts of music.
Yeah.
So it is in their food, it is in their dressing, it is in their music, it is in their language. It's who they are.
Okay.
And it's the same with the Moroccans.
So you
because when I was in Agadir, the kind of people who came, like that one where we thought it was 1 million, they would even bring sick people, old people, frail, and put a mat and they sit. It was so packed. You can't imagine, that kind of an attendance at Nyayo Stadium or Uhuru Park.
Are you saying that we cannot achieve that?
We can, but the challenge we have is we've kind of dissected our music into, the largest music in Kenya is basically what I call tribal pop. Luo Benga, Kikuyu Benga, Kamba Benga. Those ones really have large followings. If you go to, those guys perform like 4 or 5 times a week in the city, but with each community going to their pub.
Okay.
Where there is their artist. Like right now I just met the Matthew here, and the gentleman he was introduced, and I have had him for all those years, but I've never met him eye to eye. But these guys throw huge shows. Recently we had those ones in I think in Kiambu, where they filled up stadiums, So ours is dissected. We don't have like one local pop artist who can just
cuts across.
Yeah, cuts across.
Okay, that's where we feel. Okay, hopefully, that's the challenge I give to you, Makadem, today. That's the challenge I give you, to cut across all of us. Mike, back to the summit. How do I get to participate? Because like I had Q, those beautiful singers in studio, and I was asking them, are you going to be part of the summit? And they're like, no. I'm like, why? We didn't know. So how does one get to participate?
I'm very surprised, because we have reached out to the entire industry.
All right.
And they've been talked to directly in terms of through Jazz as well, Jazz Odongo.
Yes.
But the industry, the Ongea Eastern African Music Summit is open to everyone. Okay, so different levels of participation. You can exhibit, and we have 57 exhibitors. And when you exhibit, it's basically marketing, promotion of yourself, sales of your CDs and merchandise or services. When you get to exhibit, we have to have basically have a cutoff or a rule for our showcase stage, because we only have a certain number of slots. So the condition is You exhibit, as in invest in yourself, invest in your marketing. Then we know you're serious. Then come and take an exhibition slot.
Okay.
Or bring your record label to exhibit, and then you showcase on stage in front of our festival bookers. In saying that, if you're a new musician, we also have open mic. Open mic runs from 12 to 2 every day, from tomorrow now to Sunday. We are taking 2 people from open mic, and we are giving them a scholarship to Sauti Academy for a full year. Okay. So they can get formal music education. We have industry panels, 2 per day, from 2 o'clock and from 4 o'clock, where we're discussing an array of music industry issues, where we hope that we will get a lot of participation, as we did yesterday, from industry to come and now let's dialogue. For example, on Saturday we were discussing the whole copyright and CMO issue. Come and dialogue, come and propose solutions, and come and engage the stakeholders instead of just talking to them online. Come and talk to them face to face. Ask your questions, go on record, and let's hear their responses as well.
And I want to know what's the chance, the success rate, or maybe what are the chances of me being picked up by Ibrahim to go perform at their festival? Is it high, or is it, like Makadem said, it's a process that takes time? It's a networking process that takes time. Yeah.
Well, Ibrahim can tell us in a minute, but basically what we had is we reached out to a number of festival bookers around the world, and we gave them what we call the Ongea deal. The Ongea deal is we'll bring you to Nairobi for an all expenses paid holiday, including a safari. Okay.
Oh, wow.
In exchange, we would like you to take at least one of our acts from Eastern Africa.
Oh wow, that's good. Yeah.
To put in your festival.
Okay.
Some festivals have a condition where you even have to pay your own way to get to the festival.
Yes.
The people that we have brought have guaranteed us that they would facilitate that as well.
Okay. Okay. So Ibrahim, by the end of this, by Sunday, you should be carrying one person, at least one artist, for your other festivals.
I think it would be difficult to choose one because the quality here is so big. Anyway, I think to develop an industry, Kenyan music, we give opportunity for this artist to be known, to be shown, to be in contact with other professionals. But I think in the future, countries like our countries are so far from the markets that we need probably in the future more support for mobility.
Okay.
So from our governments, from founders, from other supporters, because if we don't have support, it will be difficult for our artists to move.
True.
For example, Moroccan musicians would love to perform him, but it's so far. You should travel through Europe or through Middle East to arrive here.
Yes.
You need, normally on direct flight is around 5 hours.
Yes.
But we spend 24 hours to arrive. So all this, we in our panels we discuss about all these factors,
yes.
visas, mobilities, travel, and so I think the idea that professionals come around the world to arrive here, it's very important, even in dialogue between them and the musician, to understand how it's the market now. You cannot go, for example, to Europe for only one concert. It's so huge, it's so expensive.
Yes.
So we should work with other bookers in Europe or in USA. So to find other concerts, other workshops, other things, so
that benefit the artist.
So the dialogue between musicians or professionals from Kenya or from Eastern Africa with other colleagues coming from abroad is very important. The dialogue is very important.
Okay. Mike, I looked at what's going on, the stakeholders involved at this year's summit, and I noticed there was the education sector was catered for. Maybe you can tell us the importance of this, and I'd want to hear Macadam's thoughts as well, the importance of the education sector in this particular summit.
Yes, I mean, it's actually new. It's a new addition to, we've never really addressed education in the past. Like any industry, you need to invest in the new generation. We had schools coming through yesterday. Part of the reason of one of the outputs of changing the models that we used to be in December, and our industry became so successful that in December, even ourselves as the organizers had trouble attending our own event because we all became so busy. So we actually made that decision to move into January, which is the industry's off-season, where we can all meet sensibly and not running to gigs and get higher participation. The downside of that is it's no longer school holidays, and school holidays used to be a big source of our audience. So we thought, okay, how do we still get audience? Let's engage the schools. Let's engage the universities and the colleges. And that then just made us realize that, wow, actually we haven't been thinking about the next generation. So that's why we have Sauti Academy doing the open mics, so we can win a scholarship that we are paying for ourselves and sponsoring. That's why we've teamed up the Music Teachers Association of Kenya with a new association. They're launching. We provided them a launch platform tomorrow morning. They had their inaugural meeting. So then they have brought teachers. They have brought now students, and the students had a ball yesterday. Primary school students running around, visiting every stand and being educated at every level of our industry. Okay, Macadam, your thoughts on the education sector being involved or being integrated into this summit?
It's very important because how would you get what is called the next generation?
Next generation.
And secondly, what are they going to bring in? You know, we have this where we've always argued about, well, most urban, especially Nairobi, we're going to R&B and hip-hop, which doesn't have any African root like the Nigerian R&B and hip-hop, or Tanzanian or South African, whereby if somebody raps in Kwaito, you can actually see that's South African. The Kenyan one is strange enough. It's on its own. It's on its own, it's just wannabe American. Now, where do you start making the wannabe musician to realize the importance of why should my hip-hop be Kenyanized?
Sound Kenyan.
Yes, why should my R&B be Bengaish?
Okay.
It's the importance. Like, also, why should I use this instrument? Because many young people, when they use these instruments in school, they are told they don't dress like this. They're supposed to dress in raffia and color their faces and look like ghosts. That's what the school is doing. And I hope that Mike is going to tell the teachers that shouldn't be the way.
Shouldn't work.
Yes, because that was then.
Yeah.
Because even the Nyatiti that was played in 50s differs from the Nyatiti that was played in the 70s.
Yes.
Music is dynamic. You can't say you must dress like this, because the instrument can be played in any way. I can play this for a rapper. I can play this for an R&B singer. I can play this for reggae. It's how you use it. So it's very important that this goes to school, to the teacher. Just like MCSK did with the police, by making them realize this is illegal. They need to pay for music.
Yes.
Yes, and nowadays the police know that. Before, 10 years ago, the police were like, what is that?
What is that?
So the schools also should know that. I see a lot of tours in school and stuff, but we need also to make them make a choice. You just want to go and become like Jay-Z, that's okay. I'm not saying don't do it, but you should know your competition is bigger than mine.
Yes, at the end of the day.
Because if Ibrahim sees me, he has never seen me in Morocco. But if I try to do a Moroccan music, he'll be singing. He has a choice.
Yes, he has a choice.
He has a choice.
True.
If I'm doing pure hip-hop, he has hip-hop in Morocco.
Yes.
He's not going to pick you from here unless you're extremely, I don't know how,
talented.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming and sharing with us your insights on Kenyan music. Rahim, on wanting to come and see what we have in store. Wish you all the best. And the forum started yesterday, goes until Sunday.
Yes.
From outside center.
Yep.
From midday.
From 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. Showcases in the evening, and entry is free.
And entry is free. There you have it. So if you don't have a weekend plan, please head over to the side center. Macadam, you have to take us to the top of the hour. You have to.
And tell them to come tomorrow because I'm performing with the whole band.
You're performing tomorrow with the whole band?
Yes.
What time?
8.
There you have it. Another reason Macadam will be performing. Guys, have a fantastic weekend. Take care. We'll see you next week. Bye.
yo yo, hey hey yeah Nukele mama kelele, nuwololo mama wololo. We want to live in peace. We don't want to go to war. We want to live in a harmony. Nukelele mama kelele. But together we have to stand. Divided we shall fall. Let us make love, not war. Nukelele mama kelele. Wololo mama wololo. In Africa, miziki haiimbiki, hata iwe ya kuomboleza. Mungu kakumba umwabudu, imani ni kupendana. Riziki haishikiki, mara iwe patapotea. Shughuli huenda kwa amani, siasa si vita ni demokrasia. Unapenda kona, mambo yako kona kona. Unapenda siri, kila kitu siri siri. Woyo, woyo. You better get up, stand up, Africa. Stand up for the right thing. You better get up, stand up, Kenya. Stand up for the right thing. Woyo, woyo. Woyo, woyo.